And you know why that's ironic? Last year, Black America in 2016, we spent $2 billion on Air Jordans, $4 billion on liquor and alcohol, $600 million on fast food, and we bought twice the amount of Mercedes Benzes as white America, although white America has twice the wealth of black folk. So the question becomes, what is it about the Mercedes Benz that makes it so attractive to African Americans even when they can barely afford it? And it's because it's a status symbol.
That's all.
And one thing we know about oppressed people, when you can enjoy true freedom, you surround yourself with the symbols of that freedom.
Absolutely.
And that's why the Louis bag is so important. That's why our children will kill for Air Jordans. It's not the sneaker. It's what it represents. And if I believe I'm worthless, that means I can only add value to myself by what I put on my body as opposed to what I put
People have been talking about black history and examples of black excellence. We need to talk about Paul Robeson. If you don't know who never mind, let's just get into it. To give you an idea of the times, Paul's dad was freed from slavery. And Paul went to Rutgers University on a scholarship because he was brilliant. And while he was there, he played football and was named All-American twice. After he graduated valedictorian, he went to Columbia University to study law. While he's in law school, he starts training as a singer and an actor and plays football for the NFL. Then he graduates and becomes a lawyer. But then he quit because racism. So he just becomes a movie star. But then he quit because racism. Now, dude's mad political, so he's speaking out against the U.S. government loud. And they don't like that, so the FBI cancels all his concerts and gets him blacklisted. So my dude takes his concerts overseas and keeps talking that mess. Then they took his passport so he couldn't travel. He starts holding telephone concerts, and thousands of people show up. And there's a lot.
How about the North Pole? Snow White? Well, the first man there was black, Matthew Henson. He spoke Eskimo. And he was Admiral Perry's navigator, and although he made it first to the pole, it never quite made it to the history books. And how about your heart? Can we get there? All right. Daniel Hale Williams first performed open heart surgery successfully. Now, this list could go on forever. Blacks who made it, blacks who made history, but who didn't get into the history text at all. And the strange thing is how little there is about us in the textbooks. Napoleon once said history is a fable agreed upon, and the fable agreed upon up to now is that American history is white on white. But sometimes we did get into the history books. All wrong.
Is Africa, a continent of 54 sovereign states, 17% of the world's population, 9.6% of the global oil output, 90% of the world's platinum supply, 90% of the world's cobalt supply, half of the world's gold supply, 2/3 of the world's manganese, 35% of the world's uranium, 75% of the world's coltan. This is what makes Africa so attractive.
Classical African lips, woolly hair.
When we go to Asia, we see that the founder of the samurai warrior, in Japan, was an African. We found that the founders of the ninja system was an African. In fact, in Japan, there's a saying that if you don't have a little bit of African blood, you can never truly be a samurai.
Martial arts was established by a black Dravidian who was living in southern India by the name of Bodhidharma. Now, Bodhidharma, it was said that he walked from southern India into Asia, China, and on his way there, he would study the fighting mechanisms of animals, and he used that as a form of self-defense for himself, and that's where martial arts started. There was another guy named Tigwai who was an original master of martial arts, and if you look at old paintings of Tigwai, this dude looks like Lionel Richie. So martial arts was really established in Africa, even